The organizations that are on the ground, making change, engaging with communities, centering communities of color, deserve to be celebrated.
It's a bigger issue than what we're looking at. It's more than just police brutality. It's an economic issue.
Those, I think, are two of the biggest issues of our time: climate change and justice.
It's just about hands and hearts.
Learn from each other, share those experiences, work together to find ways to transform this larger system. I just imagine the world.
The Justice 40 was an executive order that came out of the Biden administration, which states 40% of the investments into environment, renewable energy will go into historically underinvested and underrepresented communities.
We knew that putting good money into bad systems will not necessitate or realize racial equity in the way that we needed in our communities. So we knew that something had to be done about it.
The J40 Accelerator has done a great job helping us learn about federal grants, what it takes to get one, and how to find opportunities.
It's inspiring, and it shows the rest of the country that communities have the solutions. They're doing the work. They deserve the investment.
All of these organizations have missions, they have strategic plans, they have goals that they want to achieve. And so with the capacity building that we've been able to provide to support them in that pathway, in that journey, what we found is that our greatest and best use is to continue to enhance that support.
When we really think about the impact that the accelerator is having, it's actually even creating a community in which organizations across the country can come together, learn from each other, share those experiences, and really work together to find ways to transform this larger system.
Standing at this mural brings, I guess, a multitude of feelings. First, anger that it happened at the hands of police brutality, but then motivated because I feel that this is what motivated me to do what we do at Power 52 Foundation.
When all the rioting was happening downtown Baltimore City, that's when Ray Lewis and our CEO, Ms. Brooks, got together and decided that they needed to change Baltimore. We needed to make Baltimore better.
The uprising that took place in Baltimore was the catalyst that started our co-founders to think and just really let the whole nation and the whole world see that it's a bigger issue in Baltimore than what we're looking at. It's more than just police brutality. It's an economic issue.
You can see we're riding through here and there are no supermarkets. When you look at why there's no access to healthy foods, then you're saying, okay, so we have disparities in education, we have disparities to food, healthy food, access to healthy foods, and then also no clean energy access. And then, one day I said, I got it. We're going to do Power 52 Foundation, and we're going to do training. We're going to bring forth opportunities, not only opportunities as far as economic empowerment, but we're going to do economic empowerment through clean energy access.
We, train people who are returning citizens, but our focus is the youth in low to moderate income communities, and specifically black and brown people. We go into high schools, we go in different areas that are our target demographics.
This is just one of 5 community centers that Power 52 has transformed into this resilience hub. It was important for us to do the resiliency hub here in an underserved community because individuals who live here, they do not have access to clean energy. We knew Living Classrooms owned this community center. We brought in other community partners like Baltimore, the city of Baltimore.
We also teach life skills, interview processes. They get formal attire so they now can go to an interview. And when we conduct what we've termed speed interviews, it's our employer partners and the students, and that's it.
Power 52 is just all about, bringing resources, bringing different opportunities to the community, giving them the hand up that we need in the community.
I think that all the organizations that were birthed out of this anger and their cry for help, it's very motivating to me.
Everyone at Power 52, we consider ourselves a family. And when you come through Power 52, it's not that you just get a craft, you now become part of our family.
We can be the change that not only Baltimore needs, not only Maryland needs, but the whole world needs right now.
We're not done, and we have more work to do.
One thing that's special about all of the organizations in the J40 Accelerator cohort is that we're all justice-centered. Our mission is building career pathways for economic equity and climate resilience. We have a youth program called Climate Careers, and Climate Careers employs young people to deliver greenhouse calls to local residents. They go into the homes in pairs and they do energy and water efficiency audits, and they install efficiency devices like LED light bulbs, water-saving shower heads, smart power strips. And through those devices, the residents save energy and water and money. And for most of these young people, it's their first job. They get to work as a team, and they come away having a lot of skills, new confidence, getting to work directly with the public, and have a very early experience of work that is meaningful and makes an impact on communities and on the planet. I'm glad that our organization is not just doing external work, but also doing internal work.
Dolores Farr founded Healthy Babies in 1990. She started the agency because Black babies were dying. She did it at a very grassroots level, knocking on doors, bringing women into care.
I was living with my mom. It was a very toxic situation, and I had to leave. My aunt, she's a social worker, so she was kind of helping me look for programs and stuff like that. And Healthy Babies was one of the first programs that we came across. And I joined in February.
I am an art therapist, and obviously I'm a therapist who uses art as a vehicle to make other people comfortable and encourage them to talk and relax and regulate their emotions, and all the things that we need to do with the patient or the client.
I joined Healthy Babies in 2007, and there was a shift for when I came. I wanted to focus on the teen population because funding had changed in the district and there were cuts in home visiting because that was primarily what we were doing. I noticed that a lot of the young teen mothers were having some challenges in terms of finding safe places to lay their heads.
I'm the senior family support worker. I've been working with healthy babies for 6 years. I work with them one-on-one to make sure that they're doing everything they're supposed to do for the child to grow properly and healthy. But the focus is not only on the child, but also the mother.
That's always my message to all of the girls that come through to the program, the importance of an education, the importance of having that education to impact change for yourself and for your baby, because we're trying to change 2 generations.
There's the living room here. So over here we have bedrooms, like 2 bedrooms for a mom. So there's the first bedroom. Here's another one right here. So the bedroom comes fully furnished, and with a bed, sometimes with a crib or park and play, depending, or toddler bed, really depending on the mom or the child's age. So that's what it is. So it's a bit, I wouldn't say tight, but this is what we have for a mom for now. But we're looking forward, definitely, and very excited to be able to expand the main office at 4501 to give the moms, a larger space and also more stability as they, building themselves, or as they, working toward becoming fully independent.
We try to invent or to make a family-like environment here, because most of the families in this community are broken.
I wasn't a very social person when I first came here, but we do activities that help everyone kind of interact with each other.
Justice 40 has been helping us to navigate the federal funding landscape, because as we're trying to build up Perennial House and add the additional 12 units, they're helping us to negotiate with the different contractors and introducing us to all these different firms that, even if I had called on my own, may not have been responsive to us.
It could help a lot of girls going through my situation. Just having someone like Tamador to talk to help them through their issues, having help finding apartments, having help finding more resources for families.
I thank them tremendously, because they're definitely people that have a heart. They understand the landscape, they understand some of the challenges, and they say yes to investing in homeless pregnant teens and ensuring that those homeless pregnant teens and their babies have a future.
The funder we connected with really pushed us to dream big. They asked us to leave our full-time jobs at the time, just to focus on finding land and finding a place to build this community. And we had a couple of objectives with that. The first is the creation of a sanctuary space for Black and Indigenous and queer folk. The other was really to model an example of what community-led forestry can look like and should look like.
We spent a week on an 80-acre farm with predominantly Black and Latinx people, and just sitting with the complexities of not having access to land and the imperativeness that it is for our survival. So I was like, I think we could do this. Like, we could get 2 acres. I think with 2 acres we'd be good. And then Nico goes, I think I want 10,000.
We spent the next couple of years just thinking about how we could possibly do this. How could we return to land? Do we form an organization? Do we form a for-profit company, a nonprofit? What do we do? We went our separate ways, continued doing the work to various degrees, and then the pandemic hit, the George Floyd protests were going on, and for both of us that was kind of a turning point. So we're gonna do, while we gear up, put your chaps on, there's 3 trees on the lower part of the yard area. I'm gonna take the middle one down. Julia, I think if you wouldn't mind pulling out the shrubbery that I'm gonna clear out so I can get a good angle when I bring the tree down. And then I'll come back out and the two of you can limit and bucket now. I'm gonna go do an offering before we bring down the main tree. I brought chocolate today. Put that down, and then we'll go. Julia, could you get a helmet? Yeah. Thank you, relatives. Thank you, kin, for sheltering us and providing us with shade and oxygen over the many seasons. We're going to be shifting your family structure, taking down a few of you today, transitioning y'all to a different life in order to help support wildfire resiliency and ongoingness here at our forest. All right, hearing aids in, everyone. The forest has been mismanaged for 150 years. It's very, very wildfire prone. So the area that we're creating here, it's called defensible space because you can defend it from wildfire. And what that means is trimming back the vegetation that is close to the home so that fire can't travel from one tree or one shrub all the way to the home. It also means that if there is a fire coming, firefighters can come into this area without worrying about a flaming tree falling on top of them, and they can help defend the infrastructure. We really believe that in order to care for land, to restore it, to bring it back to its healthy state, the land has to be cared for by community, not just an individual.
So this is the Redwood Lodge. This is one of the original buildings here on the land. It is a pretty beautiful building that needs a lot of love and tendering care. So that's what we've been doing since we've moved here. And this is, when you walk in, this is our living room area. We also have a couple fellows here that are joining us for the summer, and they're calling this their home for the following 10 weeks. And if you go down there to the right, you'll meet Miles, who is sharing love and space with the sun right now.
We know that in order to have a more resilient environment, we need to not simply be bringing people into the conversation who haven't traditionally been part of environmental conversations, but that we're actually actively fostering a dialogue and learning from one another. And so we see the intergenerational component of the Shelterwood Summer Fellowship Program as a way of working toward that mission.
That's something that really drew me to here. I wanted to have a connection with kind of a place that I call home. And I also wanted to, make this work happen for the communities that I care about, the communities that are so often marginalized in these conversations and that really need to be at the forefront of doing climate resiliency and land stewardship work.
I'm studying environmental health, so I also am always looking at the health component of being in nature and experiencing both physical and mental health benefits and spiritual benefits that I think are so applicable to so many communities of color, particularly queer communities of color.
This building just had a lot of work, and we were trying really hard to just make it function for folks, community members, our fellows, contractors, people that just want to come from the city and enjoy and be in the forest, especially prioritizing Black, Indigenous, and people of color to come and enjoy their space.
We just got a grant from CAL FIRE, the state agency responsible for forest stewardship and fire resiliency, with the support of Justice 40, that is going to launch the beginnings of this restoration work.
More people who can feel connected to Shelterwood, more people who want to be here to learn that practice is going to help increase our resiliency against climate change.
This is generational work, and as Lael said, we're just the very beginning seeds of this.
The overall purpose and mission is that we believe everyone has the right to a clean and healthy environment where everyone can live their lives, go to work, just exist. Richmond is heavily Black and Latinx community as well as some Asian, so we're heavily people of color. Richmond has a very high rate of asthma within children and youth compared to the nation as a whole. Our youth have been working on what we call our Climate Resilience and Liberation Hub, which is a center that youth can go to get resources such as counseling, career and school advice, as well as arts and culture resources. While they're getting all those resources, they're also protected before, during, and after climate disasters. It's hard in the Bay Area to find affordable land. I hold weekly meetings with our youth interns where we talk about the climate resilience work that J40 has been really helping out with. Just seeing that other folks care about the same concerns as folks from the community feels very rewarding.
The mission of West Georgia Farmers Cooperative is to build a sovereign food and economic system owned and controlled by its communities. This whole property, it's about 2 acres, but this was the center of this corporation's activities from the beginning in 1966 up until maybe the mid-2000s. And as you see, of course, there's a lot of history here. This structure, this whole entire property, for the immediate future, we're converting to service our food hub. To do this work, it's going to require more funding, more work. And so we're in the pursuit of a couple of grants through USDA that's going to help us to build this infrastructure here, and also to build and expand and grow our current direct-to-consumer activity that we have going on with our farmers markets. This is part of the infrastructure. This is our retrofitted walk-in cooler that's going to serve a purpose. This cooperative, at its peak in its earlier days, saved a lot of family farms from being lost by giving them economic activity through markets, through sales, through technical expertise. And many of those farms are still alive and producing today and are still a part of West Georgia Farmers Cooperative. The work that we're doing now is building toward what we're trying to do in the future. We feel, in short, the work is going to be transformative. It's going to change the landscapes of our neighborhoods and communities. It's going to change the economies of those places, one city, one region at a time.
We do have about a $10 million goal right now to retrofit and renovate the whole campus area.
We want to be able to service more marginalized communities, not just right here in the state of Maryland, but across the nation.
I think in the next 10 years or so, we predict to continue our work with climate resilient hubs and also decommissioning refineries like Chevron.
In the next 5 years, I see myself in my own space and with my dream job. Healthy Babies has helped me with that so far.
The work that we are planning to do, we feel will be just as transformative or more transformative.
We want to continue to do policy work at the intersection of climate, justice, and good jobs.